Previously on X-Men. All right, we've got week one virtual learning challenges, new math, a Dune trailer reaction, and a teardown of the Air Jordan 35. All next on the Hyper Nerds Revenge. And welcome to episode 2 of the Hyper Nerds Revenge. My name is Marsky. This is my boy,
Will.
And yeah, we had a nice, week one of virtual learning. Did you?
I guess so. I mean, it was only 2 days, so it wasn't anything bad. I kind of just sat there and went on iPads the whole time. Issued back to school. I mean, I was working, so then they were doing the school thing. But you know what's crazy? They actually had to have maybe like a half-hour segment dedicated to etiquette of Zoom. Like, oh my god!
Oh wow!
This is a weird world we're living in.
Which brings us to and in our Dadlife segment, we are going over how was week one of school, our challenges and wins, remembering our fallen heroes and everyone that had passed in the 19th anniversary of 9/11, and new math versus current math. But first, let's go in. How was your girls' first 2 days of school, Will?
I mean, I'm biased, but I personally think they did great. Well, it was only 2 days because they started Thursday, so it was late today and yesterday. But they did great. They adjusted really well. They handled kind of technical adversity very well.
That's
and
good.
But it was weird though, having to see them go through like what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing on camera. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Usually you have classroom rules like, hey, while the teacher's talking, no one's talking, or when you want to talk, raise your hand. Don't pick your nose in class, Johnny. Stuff like that. And I was like, hey, when you're on a video camera and the camera's on, you can't do this.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I have, X and Annalise. X is in 5th grade, and Annalise is in 1st grade. And I think
Wow.
I heard, and we had a parent-teacher, I think, end of week meeting with the rest of the parents.
Okay.
And then all week, Fran was telling me like there's certain parents that just aren't cut out for being the virtual learning helper.
Oh. Sure.
And there's certain mom groups out there that are just like, they just don't want to deal, I think, with it. And Fran brought up a good point. It was like, this is the world right now, and this is the only way that kids are gonna get anything out of their education, and we need to be there to help them. So she doesn't understand what the problem is with everybody else. But I think it's for some moms or for dads or whoever is helping out, they thought they were done with school, and I think it's, some people just don't want to keep learning, I think, and they don't want to, it's not, I don't think it's not that they want to help. It's just like they're learning something new that they don't necessarily want to learn, I think,
Or relearn.
And it's just they're projecting that angst, I think, with this whole virtual learning situation right now. I don't know. What do you think?
I never really thought of it that way, because I'm the one that really kind of like bears that responsibility gladly. Since my wife's with the baby most of the time, and that my baby is needy, so I'll gladly take over school, no problem. I never felt that way, when my 10-year-old, let's say, comes to me for math, I'm like, part of me's like, oh, here we go, because me and her butt heads sometimes when we do go over these things, because it's like, we'll get into that in the next segment about strategies and how to do certain things, but so we'll save it for that. But so we butt heads sometimes, but the actual materials though, I'm excited to kind of teach her. I'm excited to kind of do it with her. I'm excited to actually do it myself and check the answers.
Yeah, I think X's content in 5th grade is
that's something that's get tough, I feel like, right?
Yeah, I mean, 4th and 5th grade, I think, and eighth grade, I think the elementary school grades are the ones that I enjoyed, I think, the most.
Not this time around. When he hits eighth, you're gonna be like, "Oh crud! I don't remember
Yeah,
any of this stuff."
man, it's because that's the one right before high school. But um, yeah, the experience for us, because they're using Google Meet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had that same reaction, and
Interesting.
I think it's just because uh, the staff, for the most part, I think is familiar with Google, or at least whoever's running the tech department in school is familiar with Google's tools, that they
Oh,
decided to go
so
with Google Meet.
is it Google throughout the entire platform that they're using though? Like the entire
Yeah, it's all of Google's
wow,
tools.
that's
They're
interesting.
using, yeah,
I wish my school district did that. It's a
yeah.
mixed match. I wish it's a mixed match of everything, bro.
Oh,
So
okay, okay. Well, so
sorry.
when we first went into COVID lockdown and virtual learning
Hmm.
back in March, April, X was doing Google Meet, and then Annalise was in kindergarten. They were doing Zoom
Hmm.
because I don't
Yeah,
think they were.
that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I don't think the kindergartners were, or staff was prepared for what was going on with
Well,
COVID, so they decided to
they
go into
still
Zoom.
aren't.
I think our school is actually better. I think than better prepared than other schools that I've heard of, because at least our teachers are a little bit more prepared now with how to present the material,
Okay, I see what you're saying.
and I think they've divulged the lesson plans a lot better. And I think
That's a huge call out, by the way.
yeah,
That's a huge call out. Yep,
yeah,
I agree with that.
because they're more prepared, I think, than I thought they would be, which is good.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, case in point today, X had an assignment, and I asked him to show me what the assignment was, and then he showed me what teacher gave it to him,
Hmm.
when it's due, and what needs to be done. And then
Wow.
they had it in a format that was pretty easy to follow. So it's
Hmm.
basically like it's more or less Google's version of PowerPoint, which was slides.
Oh, I like slides.
Yeah, and then yeah, it was pretty well laid out. And from the parent teacher conference, they reassured us they're doing everything they can to make everything as smooth as possible. And for the most part, week one went well.
Good.
How did it go for the girls?
I mean, it's hard to really gauge it because it was only 2 days and it was really like, they didn't do any learning like in terms of like actual content, so
Oh,
which is expected because, we all know the first 3 days back at school, you don't really do nothing,
this was
you
like
know?
orientation.
Yeah, it's more like orientation, getting everyone ramped up. And this is a whole different kind of ramp up, than,
Yeah.
than the kids are used to. So, for me, it was seeing how they adjusted in terms of like scheduling timing,
Hmm.
because, I'm not gonna lie, my kids, typically didn't wake up till later on in the morning or sometimes in the early afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Depending on when we went to bed and stuff. So, I was worried about the way they adjust the waking up in time because now they had to wake up no later than 8:15.
Mm,
So
gotcha.
they had to, so they can eat breakfast and then make their way upstairs and get start doing school at late 9:30 sharp. They gotta be logged in.
Hmm.
So but they adjusted well. I never saw them get like sometimes they look bored, but never their eyes always stay locked into the screen.
Yeah.
And so
The challenge is basically it's just interaction, and
yeah.
that you can have too little, too much. They think the big thing is just keeping the kids engaged. And it's funny because Fran said Annalise uh, today was kind of a. I mean, she's very sweet and innocent, but
Hmm.
for the more seasoned student, you would think she's kind of a kiss up. She's like, "Who's your hero?" Because they're talking about heroes today because of 9/11.
Oh.
And it's like, what do you guys consider a hero? And the kids, from what she said, the kids were like, doctors, police officers. And Annalise goes, "You're a hero," to the teacher. And
Oh.
I was like, "Oh." My friend was just like, and I was like, "Ah,
we
don't
know
do that."
we know what kind of student Fran was now. That's calling you out, girl.
Which is so in parallel when the parent teacher conference is, who's the first one to say hi to everyone? It's Fran. But that was my point. It was like, Annalise isn't kissing up. She's naturally sweet, like you.
Oh, saving that for later.
Put that in the bank.
Oh, I'm probably gonna need that in a few hours.
Or not.
Keep it in the pocket. Don't even deposit it. You're gonna need it later.
Just deposit it and just leave it there. Maybe I'll try to save it for later. Anyway, so we'll elaborate more on this as the series goes on, and just see how virtual learning evolves within the next couple months. With that, we're going to switch gears to a more solemn thing for tonight. Obviously, this was the 19th anniversary of 9/11.
Got chills, man.
And one of the worst days I've ever kind of experienced as a native of New Jersey, and I was born in New York. Tell me, just where were you? Because we have what was our age difference? 4 years?
4 years. Ooh.
What are you, 85, 86?
I'm 86.
So we have a 5 year difference. So,
oh wow, really?
Yeah. Where were you?
I was, I believe, sophomore year of high school in computer science class. Yeah. It was interesting because, that class is one of the most boring classes you could take in high school. Straight up. And so the classroom's super quiet all the time. All you hear is clack, 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 and programming.
Yeah.
Yep. I was that nerdy. And so, but it was weird because someone came into the room, grabbed our teacher, not literally, but had him leave the room, which is always odd. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And and then Mr. Nichols came back, in his ponytailed hair and slicked back and mustache and beard, and he's a super calm guy. Like, he was one of those teachers that either you did your work or you didn't do your work. He wasn't going to change his tone. He was super monotone.
Right.
And he just kind of explained what was going on. At that point, it doesn't hit you right away, but something's serious because they have to stop the whole class to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's something's weird, but you don't quite get it because you've never been through it.
Right.
And I just remember, first getting brought to the middle school and being kind of kept there for a little bit, and then being released to home. And from there, I just go walk home. I got home, and I was freaking out. And she's like, "Oh my God, people are jumping out of the buildings." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Oh my God,
right
yeah.
I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm a teenager. I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Come on, let's watch the TV." I'm like, "Okay." And so I go, because again, you don't quite know what's going on yet. You get upstairs, and I thought she was watching a weird movie.
It's exactly what people thought it was. We were watching. It's like this something straight out of a movie.
It was surreal, bro. And we like everybody else, we couldn't get in contact with my dad because my dad was working, in the city as an electrician. And so all the lines were jammed up. Nobody could call nobody. So of course, my mom was freaking out because she didn't know what happened to my dad.
Right.
Because he worked near downtown. And I finally got contact with him. Hey, long story short, it was surreal, bro. It was crazy.
Yeah, same here. And I was actually in a computer lab in college. I was a junior in college at Rutgers, and I was in computer lab, I think, finishing up a project, and one of my friends, Michelle Tsai, came in and told me, shout out to Michelle Tsai if she watches this. One of a good friend from college. And she came and told me, yeah, the plane hit the Twin Towers. Like, oh my God, why were they flying so low? We didn't know that it was a terrorist attack until the second plane hit, and then all of a sudden everybody knew it was something bad was going down. And then we were on lockdown in school for a little bit, and then when we finally got released, we didn't go home. We went to my friend Jeff Almagnana's house. Shout out to Jeff Almagnana. Again, one of my best friends, and we had a straight line into the World Trade Center from the back, not yard I would say, but from the back alley street of his house, and we're still in Jersey, but we had a direct line of sight to the World Trade, and what we were watching was just everything up in smoke, and then we just couldn't take our eyes away, and the horror of everything, watching all the buildings just kind of collapse around after the second tower went down, and it was one of the most horrifying things I think we've ever experienced.
So you
And
saw with your own eyeballs. It wasn't through a TV screen.
no, it wasn't there. Well, we saw the initial stuff through the TV
Yeah.
screen, and they just kept replaying it, and then we finally, when we got out and we got to his house, we, we had to see for ourselves, and we just kind of witnessed it through there, and
Yikes.
and then I think during the wait in school, luckily I was able to get in touch with my mom, but I was scared because my dad worked in the city, but he wasn't near. He was in the Gramercy area,
Okay.
and we finally got in touch with my dad. He was okay, thank God. But we had a couple relatives had a couple close calls. One of my cousin's dad worked in the World Trade Center, and he was late that day.
Lucky. Blessed, man.
And also my cousin Teresa, my mom told me, was also late that day. And we dodged a lot of bullets, but unfortunately, the people that passed weren't so lucky, and to all the families that lost someone, and to all our brave, first responders, firefighters, and police officers, and Port Authority officers in New York City, and all the heroes that did survive. We want to honor their memories, and we want to thank everyone that was a hero that day, and everybody that helped out to kind of
Helped out afterwards too.
and helped out afterwards too. And
Yeah.
to everybody that is a survivor of that tragedy, we want to say thank you over and over again for getting us through tough times like that.
Yeah.
And with that, we're going to get into a subject that I don't know if it makes me more angry than frustrated or just annoyed. But Will, what are they teaching in our schools? This new fangled math.
What math?
This newfangled math that is coming out with this Common Core. I mean, what do you think? What do you think about this stuff?
I think it's a rotten core, bro. Straight up. Listen,
Elaborate, please.
I
I'm
like
gonna
to
bring
think of
something
myself.
up that's funny.
I don't think of myself as halfway decent at math. I'm not like a super genius at math. I'm like a little bit above average.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing special. I don't like this new way of teaching math, and I feel like every old generation says that about the new generation. Because I feel like my mom said the same thing about me, but I feel like now it's too extreme, man. Like our kids aren't dumb,
Right.
okay? You need to water it down to a point where like you're literally moving numbers around to make your way make sense. Like literally, these are things I used to try and do on my own to trick myself to get the right answers,
Mm-hmm.
and you just made it the right way to do math now. Anyway, off on my soapbox is literally you can teach them the way we were taught, and they'll get it. Our problem isn't that they can't get it; it's the problem is that y'all are not enforcing it the right way.
It's weird because and it's not like it's not something that's like complicated. Like the way that they're teaching, I think, multiplication right now.
Multiplication is not hard. It's not making it hard.
It's not. You just have to remember your times tables. First of all, so let me shout out to my dad because
And my mom.
Yeah. Shout out to my dad and your mom for drilling us in the times tables because I know them up to 12 at least, backwards, forwards, sideways, and frontways.
Yep.
And I'll never forget how I learned that. It's my dad himself wrote down on a yellow scratch pad all the times tables in a row from 1 to 12, and he made me recite it every day before I went to Pee Wee basketball practice. And if I didn't get at least 90% of it right, I wouldn't be able to go to practice. And that was my motivation to get it right, because obviously everybody who knows me knows I love basketball, and I wanted to go to practice to play. And if I didn't do I didn't do it, you're not going to practice. And I think that's,
talking about practice.
Talking about practice. Talking about practice. Anyway, but yeah, like it's not that hard, and I think you can't coddle them with math facts, because and the way that they're learning, I feels like less efficient with the boxes and the circles and everything, and the number lines. They work. Don't get me wrong. I think they work, but it's less efficient in the real world.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Why?
Like my kids don't have like the multiplication tables like by heart yet. They're close. They're getting there. It's literally something that you do it every single day, and it's so much easier when you just know certain things off the top of your head. Like,
right.
Let's say you're going to the mall and you want to figure out a discount. If you know how to use your division and multiplication properly, you can do it pretty quick and get a quick idea of what it may be that's on sale instead of just guessing.
Right.
If you don't memorize your multiplication tables, you can't do that.
Right.
And that bleeds into fractions and bleeds into decimals. And
well, that's the thing. Like, it's not like we're getting into calculus or algebra and stuff. This is the basic stuff.
Yeah, and you can't coddle one subject, because then you have to coddle the rest of them.
Right. And it compounds, I think. Like, it compounds into the next lesson. Again, we're not math experts. We're not,
Asian.
I'm not a math expert, and I don't claim to be by any standard. I'm not. We didn't come up with this stuff, but as a parent, and knowing how we were able to overcome whatever math issues we had by just knowing the basics, I think that justifies why we're concerned about this stuff.
We reap the benefits of doing the way we learn math every single day. Right. I'm concerned that our kids won't have that basic understanding.
Yeah. For anybody that doesn't know what the hell we're talking about, let me bring this up real quick.
I don't even want to look at it. I'm just kidding.
Hold on. Of course we can do it.
Sometimes because I have to teach them the way they have to learn, because I can't, like, I'm gonna make them learn the way I learn, but they're gonna have to keep doing the way they do it, right?
Yeah.
I have to like review it and like make I have to like literally teach myself like how to like think that way. And like
there, I put that in the chat for you.
Oh, sweet. But what do you want to throw up right now?
So I'm going to bring it up right now on the screen. So this is Common Core math. Everyone can see over here. And
stupid.
The number line thing.
When you literally need to do an infographic to explain your math and use colors to make things simpler to actually read your infographic.
So
get out of here.
Honestly, the subtraction part is fine. This addition part here is fine. But then you get into the multiplication stuff with this box, and it's just like, this doesn't work for me, man.
You see what I'm saying? Like, listen.
It's slower, and it's slower,
God.
And I don't know if anybody watching has any counter to this and why Common Core is better than the way that we learned it. And if you have to be around our age, Will is how old are you? 34.
34.
And I'm about to be 39, so I'm pushing 40, and I know the way that I learned math still feels better than the way that they're learning now. So if anybody's watching, in the comments, if you have any reason why Common Core math would be better than the way we learned it in the past, go ahead, and you're more than welcome to challenge me on that.
Common Core sucks.
And on that note, it's the end of the Dadlife segment, and we're going to transition into
Shoryuflicks.
It's time for Shoryuflicks, and for right now, what we're going to do, Will actually has not seen the trailer for the new Dune movie.
Yeah, well, that's a long trailer.
Honestly, yes. It's a very long trailer, but it doesn't, like most trailers nowadays, it doesn't give away a lot of the plot. Ready, set, go.
There's something happening to me. There's something awakening in my mind. I can't control it. What did you see? There's a crusade coming. Do you often dream things that happen just as you dreamed them? Yes. The test is simple. Remove your hand from the box, and you die. What's in the box? Pain. You inherit too much power. You have proven you can rule yourself. Now you must learn to rule others. Something none of your ancestors learned. My father rules an entire planet. He's losing it. He's getting a richer one. He'll lose that one too. Arrakis is a death trap.
No way.
This is an extermination. They're taking my family off one by one. Let's fight like demons. An animal caught in a trap will gnaw off its own leg to escape. What will you do? I know you. One day, a legend will be born. All of civilization depends on it.
Oh yeah, I think it was.
I can see it. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer.
Hello, Duke.
Where the fear is gone, only I will remain.
Go, go, go!
Kids don't say that anymore, but that looks sick.
So, I love the cast, and I think it's a very well-rounded cast for this type of movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Have you seen the 1984 version?
I tried. I couldn't get through it.
So yeah, it's a hard movie to get through. It's a long movie to get through.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was poised more or less to be the next kind of Star Wars type thing, except it didn't have the charm, I think, that Star Wars had.
Yeah.
And it was a very kind of a serious outer space movie. And there's a lot of movies like that kind of not fell flat, but it was just in a category kind of by itself that couldn't franchise out, like Flash Gordon. Flash Gordon had the charm, albeit it was one of the cornier space movies, but it didn't have legs to franchise, and neither did Dune.
Yeah.
But
This might.
This might. and I'm hoping that it does because that cast is awesome. The visuals are cool.
They're really cool. Look at the visuals.
Yeah.
That trailer told you nothing.
The trailer told you nothing, even though it's 3 minutes long.
Literally, I'm like, what's the point of this movie?
Yeah, and I still have a general idea of what the movie is about, only because I played the 1992 computer game.
That's where mine clicks in my brain.
And I beat it, and I was like one of the most that was one of the most triumphant moments I had as a young gamer, was beating Dune. Even though I don't think in retrospect, I don't think it was that hard. You kind of just had to follow the prompts. But, there's a lot of times I played Dune and died. And then when you finally kind of get through it, it was one of the more... And Dune had one of the best, I think, pixel art motifs of any computer game that was out at the time. I don't know if you remember any of that.
I remember the game. It's hard for me to remember where it stood up against the rest, to be honest with you.
Right.
I feel like video games back then, they all look the same.
Well, so this one was different, I think, So in 1992, I had just started Super Nintendo, and it was the 16...
I love Super Nintendo.
Yeah, it was the 16-bit graphic era. And
those are glorious days.
I had never played PC, I think, before up until 1993, 1994, when we actually had a computer.
93, 94.
Like when we actually had like a CD-ROM type computer.
I was 8 back then.
Yeah. And I remember borrowing that game, not buying it, from my friend Anthony Maselli. And if he ever watches this video, shout out to Anthony Maselli. Old friend from grammar school. Yeah, shout out Crazy right now. But let me I'll show you what the visual look like real quick, because obviously it's 2020. We can go to YouTube for the Dune 1992 long play. And I'm not going to long play it for you. I'll
6-hour episode.
Yeah, it's for real. Let me bring it up real quick.
Travel north and...
This is the DOS version. I don't want the DOS version, because I had the CD version.
I remember...
I'm going to kind of fast forward through it. But these are the graphics.
So here is this Paul Atreides we've heard about.
I think pixel art is spot on point.
I agree to let my troops work for
with
you.
the visuals of the movie.
Yeah.
I was mostly impressed that the lip syncing
this
was
Fremen
good in
from
this game.
Throwmeback, the one who gave us the stills.
I see what you're saying.
And the point of the game is
like me to
basically
repeat
what
what
the
I
movie was
said?
about. Is that
Why
you
do
had, there's this
I don't
guy,
think I can
Paul
find
Atreides,
weirding my
Chalamet
film
is going to play.
to go.
And he is the heir to the king that rules the planet Arrakis. Again, if any nerds are watching, if I'm getting anything wrong, I'm sorry, but this is my interpretation of it. Yeah, he rules the planet Arrakis, which is nicknamed Dune because it's basically a desert planet, but it's the only planet that has this I'm going to say mineral called the spice, which basically expands your mind, expands. It's actually, if I were to relate it now, spice is Dune's version of vibranium. It is. I think if you relate it to any pop culture thing that's relevant today, that's what it is.
Oh, because it's a very like amiable type of material.
Correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And then the House Atreides, which is Paul Atreides' family, Duke Leto Atreides, and all of them are on the planet to mine the spice. They get the locals, who are the Fremen, to help them out, and then they have to defend it against the Harkonnens. And then
sounds like a basic early 90s basics of a video game.
And the movie ensues. Yeah, well, the book came out a long time ago. And then I think Sci-Fi tried to do a remake of Dune that I don't think did really well because it was on the Sci-Fi Channel.
When did the book come out? Do you remember?
I don't remember. Well, again, internet.
Interesting factoid.
Dune the novel came out in 1965 by Frank Herbert.
See, now I gotta go
65.
find a copy of it. I'm gonna go read it.
Yeah, man. You know, it was also, and as a side note, was a old book that became a 90s kind of cult hit, I guess, is Starship Troopers. Starship Troopers is the
book?
paperback book.
No way.
Yeah, it was in 1959.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, so was the movie based on that?
It was based on the book, but I don't think it was
late
followed book
interpreted.
to the T.
Yeah.
But it was based on the book.
Man, I remember Starship Troopers, like the first one I watched, I was like, this is like my first like edgy adult movie.
But not really.
But there's,
I know
remember
there's
first I saw
stuff in there
boobs, I think,
that's
in the movie.
quote unquote adult content. Well, it's the same director that directed RoboCop.
That makes sense. Yo, RoboCop, really this quick side tangent. Wow.
Yeah,
Like, I can't believe my eyeballs saw what I saw
for
at the age that I
1987.
saw it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Like, wow. Like, I mean, like, there's certain things in RoboCop like that stuck with me, like it gave me nightmares sometimes. But I did not realize like how much like I ingested. Like, that's some garbage in that movie, bro.
Bro, but it's one of the most quotable movies of the 80s.
It is.
And
I'm a huge fan of RoboCop. I'm saying it's garbage. Like the content of it.
oh yeah, I got you. No, but yeah, it's
Like,
I have a funny story about RoboCop too. I wasn't supposed to watch this movie at the age I did. I think I saw it around 1990, and I was 9 years old. And
That's when I watched it, dude.
yeah, my uncle,
Yeah.
rest in peace to my uncle Steve. He rented Kickboxer and
Nice.
RoboCop, and he let me watch Kickboxer, which some of that is inappropriate for a 9-year-old. And then RoboCop, which is totally inappropriate for a 9-year-old.
It's messed up, man.
Oh man, the execution scene in RoboCop still makes me queased out. It's less queasy now because I've seen the behind the scenes and how they did it. And whenever I see that, then when the magic of that kind of goes away,
Yeah.
then I'm a little less freaked out. But still, it was very realistic back then.
It was, and the scene where they just like spraying bullets at him,
Yeah,
and like mangling him, like, oh my god.
I've never seen. Actually, I don't think I even what went on in Walking Dead for the last 10 years. I haven't seen anything that I think malicious.
That movie was like grotesquely gory. Like I as a kid, you didn't really think about it. I was like, oh, RoboCop's so cool. He has a gun on his hip, and that's all you needed to like be okay with the movie.
Yeah,
But
and,
oh my god,
and they made a cartoon out of that.
that's right.
Yeah. Although they switched the bullets in the cartoon to lasers, which for whatever reason makes it better. That he was executed by lasers as opposed to bullets. But it's funny because they allude to that execution scene in the intro, but again, they have the bad guy pointing the gun and it just flashes the screen, and all of a sudden he becomes RoboCop.
I can't even sit through RoboCop as an adult anymore, man. Like, I can't. It's too much, like, for me. I mean, I'm just getting too sensitive to things, but
No, you know what's funny? As a dad,
it's too
for
much.
whatever reason, if you're being a good dad, quote unquote, you get a little bit more conscious of what you're watching.
Yeah.
Especially if the kids are around. And then when they start, and again, remember, X just started on TikTok. When he starts watching inappropriate stuff, you find yourself in yourself. You're like, this isn't too bad. But then as the dad watching your son watching it, you're just like, no, no, I don't want you watching this. And he's like, why? Because it's bad. And you're like, and he's like, why? It's like, and you're just like, I don't know, in your head. But it's like, I just want you to watch it. And that's what I said. Okay? You're not watching because I said so, which is the worst reason you could ever give as a dad, I think. But it is what it is, man. Like, you want to protect your kids from that stuff as early as possible.
Heck yeah, you do. Heck yeah, you do. I watch more WNBA basketball now than I have ever in my life because I want my girls to see what it's like that women can do anything guys can do.
Right. And
I'm being serious, though.
And having a daughter and being a girl dad makes that
Hashtag
all
girl dad.
all that stuff, that you thought as a kid growing up was all BS. No, man, you want that for your daughter. You want the equal opportunity. You want them to know that they can be just as good as a guy in whatever they're doing. And it's not for. I don't think it's for lack of opportunity. I think it's for lack of
exposure.
You know, what am I trying to say? It's not for lack of opportunity. The opportunity is there. It's just, you have to be conditioned to go get it. And I think as parents of girls that, you want to let them know at an early age, you can go do whatever you want. Doesn't matter if a guy's held that position in the longest time.
Yeah. Yep.
You can't condition them to say like, no, girls can't do that. Because once you do that, then they're not gonna want to.
Right.
I think at an early age, you got to tell them, you can go do it. You just have to want to go do it. And
be the first.
Yeah, be the first.
Yeah.
Anyway,
preach.
On another note, this is Shoryuflicks segment, not the Dadlife segment. We left that already.
Sorry, I RoboCop, which led to.
That's fine. That's cool though. That's fine. This is
proud dads. We always goes back to being dad.
It's good. It's good content. Switching gears real quick. Ooh, you like that pun. Switching gears to the Fast and Furious franchise.
Not really a franchise anymore.
Okay. So, Fast 9 looks like it's going to space, according to Michelle Rodriguez.
How can you still be a part of those kind of like films, like knowing what they're doing to it?
Listen, so Fast and Furious, Fast and Furious, that franchise is 19 years old. Can you believe that? It came out in 2001 and started off as basically, I'm not going to say the R word, but it's a homage to Point Break. It's the same plot as Point Break. I think the internet knows this. And then for whatever reason they made 2, and then that was a total just like anomaly to the rest of the series, as was Tokyo Drift. But I think Tokyo Drift I liked.
They tied it in though somehow, some way.
And they tied it, and they were able to tie that in. Yeah, Tokyo Drift I think was supposed to be its own movie. Huh?
People forget it brought back Vin Diesel.
At the end.
Yeah.
Like this was its own movie.
Yep.
Like if Fast and Furious were to be an anthology and not a saga, this was supposed to be that Tokyo Drift was supposed to be its own movie until the end scene where Vin Diesel comes in. Then you knew it was part of the
same universe,
part of the saga. And then 4 hit, and 4 was a good action movie.
Yeah,
it wasn't cars, boobs, and butts anymore.
Right.
It was just it was a good action movie. 5, which is my favorite. Fast 5 was the heist movie that made the franchise, I think, a legitimate.
That's the one where they ripped the vault, right?
Yes, and it's the first one The Rock's in.
So good.
Yeah, that's the first one The Rock's in.
Oh,
and then
stop killing the franchise.
And 6, I think he resurrected the franchise. You think he killed it?
I think he's literally single-handedly responsible for destroying it.
Oh, come on.
I'm not even.
I don't agree. I don't agree.
Since he took over, first off, why does his character need his own spin-off movie? Why?
So I don't care. Yeah, whatever about that.
We already know why, because it's The Rock. He makes money, and put him in a movie, and
okay, he's the highest-paid actor within, like, I think, the last 3 years.
Which is fair, because
he's the most bankable star.
For some odd reason, people loved watching his movies. I am not a huge fan of his movies, but that's not tied into why I don't like him in Fast and Furious. Ever since he came on as a special agent,
Agent Hobbs.
I feel like I mean, it could also we could tie in with the fact that Paul Walker died, and to me, that's when the soul of the movie died. The whole franchise died at that point in terms of like the soul of it.
Right. I would agree.
But the Rock keeps I feel like he stole this from Vin Diesel and made it his own way, and now is literally action movie and okay, we'll talk about cars a little bit.
I don't agree. I think it's still Vin Diesel's franchise. This is the Vin Diesel franchise, as evident in the Netflix cartoon where there's a Fast and Furious cartoon on Netflix where there's an animated Vin Diesel, and I put this on my Instagram, I think last year, that I can rest easy now, knowing that I've seen Vin Diesel as a cartoon of himself as Dominic Toretto.
Could mix him with the guy from Titanic.
Right. This is Vin Diesel's franchise. No matter how big The Rock has an influence on it, I think it's still Vin Diesel's franchise. But yeah, there's an evolution there. I think it is
word. I don't know if it's evolution.
So there was an evolution, I think, from 5 to 7. 8 wasn't. It's got a lot more ridiculous. I think from 7 to 8, it got a lot more ridiculous. And I think 9, which is
Paul Walker was like, which was the last one? I forget.
7 was the one that I think he passed.
They had his kid. They just had their kid, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
I literally haven't seen them since then.
And then they went into 8. Yeah. And then they went into 8. With his character retired, quote unquote. And then from 7 to 8 it got a little bit more ridiculous, and then from I think not with 9. So I don't know, because it was confusing because 9 we've seen the trailer for and was supposed to come out this year, and I didn't see anything about space, at least I don't remember. But I think they meant 10. 10 is probably going to go into space because there's supposed to be a 9 and a 10, and I think they're ending with that.
Well, why do these people need to be in space?
I heard on what franchises have gone to space already before them? Because this is not an original concept. Jason went to space.
But okay,
already.
but that was like at that point it wasn't Jason anymore. It was campy, stupid. Like what the early 2000s did to movies, they made them campy and ridiculous. They did it for every single horror icon. But we're not in the early 2000s anymore where everything needs to be campy. Why are these average people outside the Rock's character, who was a special agent of like multiple different agencies apparently?
Tyrese is average?
What? First off,
Michelle Rodriguez, shout out to Dream City's Michelle Rodriguez is average?
Maybe Luda's character can qualify because he has the brains.
Oh my god.
What are these looters and heisters doing going into space?
Yeah. Anyway, I can't wait to see it.
I can, and I never will.
I'm just curious to see where they go from here. And
what's on your shirt? Because I know the Ninja Gaiden part, but what's the other one?
It's Castlevania. Simon Belmont.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What do you mean you didn't know that? It's Simon Belmont.
Yeah, but okay. So when I could choose, I had an actual choice. I could get Castlevania, or I could get Kid Icarus. I literally could choose. The box art of Castlevania was a little scary, bro. So I picked Kid Icarus.
Oof. And on that note, why are you doing this show? Seriously.
Listen, man. I got half the shirt. That's why. And you're the other half. Get it? Huh?
And on our next segment, we have... And this is Saved for Later. And this is our reaction segment where I show Will something he hasn't seen before, and he's going to react to it. Good with that?
There's a surprising amount of things that you've seen that I don't know about. This
is our relationship, though, isn't it? Like, this is... I've shown you a bunch of this stuff.
Basically. And then I tag you on Instagram.
I sent you the link to your phone.
Here we go.
You are going to close your eyes.
Wait, hold on.
Before you hit play.
Okay.
Let me switch the...
Hopefully I don't miss with my thumb.
Open.
Oh, wait,
play.
Oh no. Oh no, it's playing picture in picture. Okay. Oh no. Wait, hold on.
So this is a channel of a new friend that I have named Popcross, and he does mashups. And this mashup I thought you would love is famous vehicles as Transformers. So if we forward to
tell me where to go.
Yeah, forward to 130, and Christian, who's the artist here, has the channel Popcross Studios. He turns the DeLorean into a transformer, which
Stop it.
if you fast forward to about around 420, you start to see it fleshed out, and it looks amazing because the transformer turns out to look like Doc Brown.
Yo.
He's actually, anybody watching that doesn't know about Popcross Studios, go follow them right now on YouTube. Not only does he do these amazing mashups, he's done Avengers as dragons, Pokemon with the symbiote suits, something like that. I don't know if that's actually one, but he does things like that.
He's done that?
He's done that. And not only does he do that, but what he's doing right now on the bottom right hand, if you can see him, and I have the volume down because, it's our show, not his. But he's actually got a backstory to each of the things that he draws.
Yo.
So this is what he'll show the time lapse, and he'll give the story behind it, which is the most creative thing that I've seen an artist do in a very long time. And it's a lot of effort to put in, and I commend him for having that much foresight to do this, because I think it's awesome, and his channel's grown a lot because of it. So if we so that's the DeLorean one, and if we fast forward to about 750, you'll see he does the Mystery Machine, which again is amazing, from Scooby-Doo. Yes.
Okay, I gotta fast forward.
And then, if you have a chance, this is a long video, but like the drawing, the process of the drawing is awesome. And then the cool thing about this is that this turns out to be the bot looks like Fred. The face actually looks, and then the body, I think he got a lot from Soundwave or Blaster. That's Blaster's body.
Who do you use for the
DeLorean? I think that was an original.
That looked very good. Oh no! Stop it.
Well, he doesn't rip off any of the Transformers designs either. This is all original, but these are very much inspired. Yeah, and then the last one he does is the Millennium Falcon, which again is Falcon awesome.
And he used the cockpit as like a cannon, dude.
Dude,
what?
He's one of the most creative artists on YouTube right now. I would go follow him, Popcross Studios.
I left his wallpapers too.
So I knew you'd like that.
Wow, that's so cool.
So go follow him.
There for a second there.
Go follow him. All right. I got one more for you. Okay, so the backstory on this one is what you're looking at right now are one of the top 3 Marvel artists in the business right now. On the top left, you have Andy Park, who is Marvel's, I think, creative. Let me check real quick. I don't want to get this wrong. Andy Park is a professional Marvel artist, along with Anthony Francisco, who is, let me get their titles correct, so I don't want to mess this up. Anthony Francisco is Marvel's, it's going to come up on the video. He's a senior visual development artist. Anthony Francisco is responsible for the design of Baby Groot, Black Panther's Dora Milaje outfits, and a lot of the Thor Ragnarok stuff. And a lot of his concept art is in those Marvel art of books, like the art of Thor Ragnarok, art of Guardians of the Galaxy, art of Black Panther. He's responsible for that. He's also Filipino American, as I am. And he's one of my favorite visual artists. And Andy Park. Yeah, he's he's actually probably one of the most famous concept artists in the world, and he's the director of visual development. Wow. And the third person is James Reyes, who also worked as an artist for Marvel. And he's also worked on a lot of special effects because he does visual effects for movies. He's currently a professor at a college in Canada, but James is somebody that I've been being mentored by right now. Like I have I'm fortunate enough now to know him, and I turned in one of my pieces because this was a big moment for me as an artist, because the three of them, I didn't draw that part. I'll show you what I drew is about to pop up. The three of them got to react
Or something.
It could be.
to my
Probably.
Ninja Turtles
Should tell them to
piece
get on TikTok then. We're gonna get on TikTok.
right now.
You're gonna do well. This is from my friend Marisk.
Whoa, this is like
That's cool.
Ninja
that's
Turtles.
G.I. Joe.
Yeah, Ninja Turtles.
And then
The
Mortal
Star
Kombat.
Ninjas. Yeah, yeah.
No, it's like a mix of three
Yeah.
things, right?
It's like Ninja Turtles, but they're all like ninjas.
No, I see.
those are the
All the
ninjas.
ninjas from different franchises. I see.
Okay.
So that was a huge moment for me to
That's
have the three of them
Awesome.
react very positively to my artwork, and it's very inspiring that I think the three of them took the time to actually look at all of our pieces, and it was just
Congratulations, bro.
thanks,
That's
man.
crazy.
It was a big thing. It was a big thing for me, and it made my day yesterday when that video came out, because the video just came out yesterday.
That's
And,
great, dude.
For them to, those are the guys that I would, if I were to pursue being like a concept artist or comic book artist, those are the three guys that right now are
Those
basically
are
on the top
huge
of my
names.
list. Yeah,
Huge
So,
names.
there's that.
Wow.
It was a good
That's congratulations, bro.
good
That's
day
crazy.
professionally. Yeah, thanks, man.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. And with that, we are going to go into our next segment called in this segment, we're actually just going to reminisce about stuff that throws us back to our youth, new things that are, or old things that have been made new again, and
Which happens a lot nowadays.
yeah, it's the age of redos and retro and this, that, and
remakes.
other thing, and remakes. But one of the good things that has come out of this is a little show that just went on Netflix called Cobra Kai. And Cobra Kai actually has been around since now, I think 2018 is when it started.
That sounds about right.
Season 1 is when it came out on YouTube Red, is when it was called YouTube Red. Now it's called YouTube Premium. And, while we're talking about it, I'm just going to play some of the highlights while it's going through. Obviously, it continues on the story of the Karate Kid, which is one of my all-time favorite franchises. Ask anybody in my family. I was dressed as the Karate Kid when I was 5, and I had the gi and the bandana and everything.
Wow.
This continues the story of Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence, and it's a nice spin on how those characters from the 80s are now dealt with in the 2000s, or in the now in the 2020s. And what are your first impressions of it, Will?
I mean, it pays nice homage to our past. To me, it does a very good job. And when I first started watching it, reminded me a lot of how I felt when I watched Full House again. You know what I'm saying? No, meaning that when the way they did those callbacks and they brought back both characters like that, it made me feel that nostalgic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually surprised they've kind of continued it on to up to now 3 seasons, because of the fact that when you watch the movies, I was a big fan of the movies also,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a reason they stopped them.
Yeah,
So
I could say that.
But so I'm surprised at how much content they've been able to create with to me, like a story that was not meant to last very long. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I get it. So my favorite movie, I think, out of there's 4. Believe it or not, there was 1, 2, 3, and then the one with Hilary Swank that counts as canon. But I think my favorites were 1 and 2, and I think
Choose one where he goes to Japan, right?
choose the one where they went to Okinawa.
Love that one.
That one,
Love that one.
It's weird because I don't know if I like that one more than 1, but 1 is always a classic for me. They're both, I think, together a great movie and sequel. And then 3, I didn't. Looking back on it, wasn't really great. And then 4, for all intents and purposes, 4 was fine, but it wasn't 1 or 2.
Right.
But I think for the most part, Cobra Kai does a great job of bringing back the nostalgia, as well as really developing the characters for modern times. And
Fleshing them out.
yeah, it's a good flesh out. And I know you've only seen the first 2 episodes, and I'm gonna encourage you to go see the rest on Netflix, because there's a nice full. I don't want to say full circle because it's not ended yet, because season 3 will be coming out in 2021. It's a nice arc that Daniel has and Johnny has, and then now the newer Cobra Kai, and spoiler alert, the newer Miyagi-Do students have, because Daniel now has opened up his own studio under Miyagi's karate style. It's a nice arc, and I like where they're at right now. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I think for everybody watching that is a fan of Cobra Kai now is excited for season 3, because season 2 left off on a very big cliffhanger.
I
And
hate that.
I can't wait. Like, I really can't wait, because again, it captured the nostalgia of the movies from the 80s, but I think successfully brought into modern times. And I think that's why now it's on Netflix. It's got a wider range, and it's got so much more of an audience now captured. That's why it's number 1 on Netflix, I think, for the last couple of weeks. And
Netflix sounds like clout, man.
yeah, man. And I think also the franchise itself, I think, is a callback to, again, an era that I think a lot of people our age can relate to and wish that was still around. At the same time, again, for our generation, it deals with a lot of the questions that we're asking ourselves about this current generation, and I think that's why it has its worldwide appeal. Because it, we were just talking about earlier with the new math, the way school is, the way the world is now. We're asking ourselves questions. The series asks those same questions, and I think that's why a lot of people are relating to it right now. And that's all embodied, I think, in the character of Johnny, mostly, because Johnny's one of the ones that are, is kind of a relic of the 80s, and he's trying to navigate his way into this world, also dealing with trying to raise his son, and also dealing with it's a nice parallel between him and his student, played by Xolo Maridueña, who is Miguel, his first Cobra Kai student. There's a nice parallel there between him trying to navigate the world Miguel lives in, and Miguel trying to see the old school perspective of Johnny, which is it's a great dynamic for the show, and I think that's what's carrying the show right now.
Into season 3.
And on that note, we've got a lot of anniversaries, especially this month.
Some big ones.
Some big ones, yeah. For
both in age and
for
gravitas.
movies and for TV shows.
Oh my gosh. When you read me this list earlier, it blew my mind.
Can you believe that Fresh Prince has just celebrated their 30th anniversary? So
That one makes me sad.
Why does it make you sad?
For the people that have died since then, so it's like you can't recreate those photos. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, like, I don't know. That's why, because I'm being morbid. That's why.
It's funny you mention that, because I think Will Smith posted the photo of because they filmed a reunion for HBO Max. And
Before James Avery died?
Sorry?
Before Uncle Phil died?
No, they recently just filmed a documentary 30-year anniversary for Fresh Prince on HBO Max, and whatchamacallit, Will Smith posted a photo of the current cast, who's the living cast, but our good friend Boss Logic, who is the internet's
He's
favorite
so talented.
photoshopper, he photoshopped James Avery in there, and there's the
No.
photo right there on Instagram.
Is it on
And-
Will Smith's Instagram page?
It's on Boss Logic's Instagram page, and if the shadowing was a little bit better on James Avery's back, I
Yeah.
think you would have thought he was actually there. And yeah, looking at that and thinking about how much I loved this show when I was a kid, and it was a big influence on my personality.
Huge
Um,
impact.
it's weird to think that this show now is 30 years old. It started off in 1990.
And all the kids still look like the same.
Right. Obviously, and look at Jeffrey. He still looks the same. Other than the white beard, he still looks the same. On Viv, aged a little bit. Ashley, I know everybody our age had the biggest crush on, as well as Hillary.
Yes.
And
Hillary. Well, she was too, at that time, because our 5-year gap, but she was too old for me. So for me, when I was a kid, I was like, Ashley Banks.
What was that song? When she was a pop star. Boy, you thinking about... Anyway. Yeah, so this show is celebrating its 30th anniversary, and it was a big influence on me and my personality. And it only lasted 6 years. It went from 1990 to 1996. Cause,
Really? It was only that short?
Yeah, because around 1996, Will Smith did Independence Day,
Oh,
and then he
right.
blew up. And then, obviously, he became
Bye-bye TV.
this big movie star. And he still is, believe it or not. Bad Boys for Life was good. I don't know if you saw it.
I have it downloaded. I haven't watched it yet. No one to watch it with.
You're killing me.
No one to watch it with anymore, man.
Anyway, yeah, Bad Boys for Life was good, and it kind of cements that franchise trilogy as one of the greatest, not the greatest, but a great action trilogy, I think.
2 went off the rails a little bit, but the action
2 went off the
kinda
rails.
kept it together. Yeah.
3 kind of brought it full circle, I think, which is good. And another one near and dear to our hearts that is celebrating its 30th anniversary, but we're a little late on it because it came out in the late spring, early summer of 1990, was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie. Now, when I tell you Ninja Turtles had a huge influence on my life, it's probably still the biggest understatement in the world. Ninja Turtles for me was it. Like, that was my thing. And if anybody that knew me in grammar school and is going to watch this video is probably shaking their head. Yep, that was his thing in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade was Ninja Turtles. And that's all I ever talked about. Other than basketball, that's all I ever talked about. I was the biggest cartoon watcher. I had the VHS of the movie. I had the VHS of that damn time that they became rock stars. I had all that.
Mm-hmm.
Bed Sheets, Ninja Turtles, had all the figures, all that. So,
Yep.
big influence on me. I know it had a big influence on you too.
What was the actual anniversary date? Like number wise, is 25 or 30?
It's 30. It came out in 1990.
Okay.
In March
I was
30th,
4 at the time.
1990. March 30th.
Wow, 2 days before my birthday.
Yeah. 30th.
Wow.
30th.
Oh, so it came out when I was turning 4.
Turned 4. Yeah, you had just turned 4.
So I didn't catch it in theaters, obviously, but for me, this movie, it's not an understatement to say that movie was the one that kind of like molded me into the nerd that I am today. Before then, arguably, I was into a couple things like He-Man, a couple of things like that, but the Ninja Turtles movie on VHS, I even remember the commercials leading into the movie, because it was the movie that, every kid back then had a VHS they popped in every single day until it broke. Ninja Turtles. I remember the commercials. That's the first time I ever heard, because then the commercials before the movie was Piano Man. Sing the songs, Piano Man. And that's how like I started liking older music too.
Same,
So,
man.
like,
I mean, it's
you know,
I don't know how, like, if Ninja Turtles never existed, how I would be molded today, which is funny.
specifically that movie.
Specifically that movie, yeah, because
You know,
it was able to bring everything that we saw in the cartoon to life, and I was there for the phenomenon of it being in the theater because God bless my mom and dad. They took us to the mall, Hudson Mall, Jersey City, in their cinema, and there was lines out the door to see this movie. And I remember my friends got to see it, the showing, before I did, and I had to go wait. And Hudson Mall, it was okay to wait in Hudson Mall because they had a awesome arcade back in the day called Good Times.
there was no social distancing back then.
There was no social distancing back then. The arcade in Good Times was Good Times Hudson Mall was amazing, and I was able to actually play video games in the
Play
arcade
Ninja Turtles while waiting for Ninja Turtles.
while waiting for Ninja Turtles. Exactly. And when we got to the theater, I was walking in to go see it, and my friends were like, "Oh my god, that was awesome!" And you know, this is one of the best movies ever. So that even got me more hyped.
Yeah.
And I think when it actually came on, when the turtles were actually on the screen, I was just like, and I was like, they're real, they're live, blah blah blah. And then I think it's still today it holds up
Yeah.
better
It holds up
than
incredibly well.
and better than the newer CGI movies, which I think are good to a point. I
Right.
think a lot of technological achievements in those movies, I think, visually, but they're not what we grew up with. I don't.
No,
yeah.
and I think that's to detriment of that franchise. That franchise has to stick to its core in order to stay appealing to everybody besides, you know, the kids that they're trying to sell toys to.
Yeah.
But for me, this film was so impactful. Like I remember still to this day, like pausing it so I could see the picture that April drew of Leonardo while he was like, you know, not feeling great.
Right.
After that
Right.
battle scene with the fish soldiers. You know, and I was like, man, I want to learn how to draw like that one day. You know, just like that movie.
Thinking
inspired
she
so
actually
much.
drew it, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Because you're a kid, you don't know no better.
So on that note, it is actually a good. Thanks for the segue, because being that it is the 30th anniversary, Judith Hoag, who played April O'Neil in the 1990 movie, has actually hosted a bunch of cast reunions for the. Yeah, I knew that's the reaction that you were gonna have. I'm going to link you right now.
I had a crush on her when I was
Did
a
you
little
really?
one.
And for whatever reason, her channel's name's Goddess on Fire. She looks like she hasn't aged. She's aged very well. She's still very beautiful. But yeah, she hosted a bunch of cast reunions for them. If you go into videos, and then I think the last one she has up is the. I don't know. She might have taken the other ones down, or they might be on a different channel. But the one that she has up was a reunion with the stuntmen. And one of the stuntmen, obviously from the first movie, is Ernie Reyes Jr.
Ernie Reyes Jr.
Is still
He's short,
one of my
but
personal favorite Asian heroes
His
from
family is
the 80s
famous
into the
for
90s.
this.
Yeah. In the 80s, he was a big deal. Ernie Reyes Jr. Shout out to Ernie Reyes Jr. if he ever watches this video.
I think I have an autograph photo from him somewhere.
Do you? From when you were
My martial arts days and competing. Yeah.
nice. I loved him in Last
Iconic
Dragon.
world.
And I loved him in Sidekicks, or The Last Electric Night, if we're keeping tabs on that. And Surf Ninjas, all
Surf
that.
Ninjas, my
He was
friend.
one of my heroes growing up, and because, you know, I see the representation had something to do with that. And
Yeah.
I think he was the representation for me, because he was a little Asian kid that was kicking everybody's butt. And
Right.
that's, when I was growing up, that's who I wanted to be.
He inspired my martial arts thing too.
Yeah, and when he found out that he was a stuntman as Donatello, I was like, that's awesome. And then he was in part 2 as Kino. And that opening
love
scene with
that.
Kino is one of the best, still, I think, opening scenes. I'll watch that all day.
Yeah, I love that. I love number 2. It's a whole different. It's to me, it's like a whole. I know they're technically the same franchise, but they might as well be like a reboot.
Yeah.
you know, but because the first one just has like the storyline still holds up to this day.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. So let me bring this up real quick. So this is actually on, if you type in Ninja Turtles 1990 Cash Reunion, this is what pops up. And it's if you have time, it's a good thing to kind of watch, because everybody that was in the turtle suits is there. Shredder's there, played by James Sato. Or Saito. Pronunciation is not my best. And then I got a little trivia for you.
Ooh.
Do you know who did the voice of Splinter? Or who was his puppeteer?
I don't.
Kevin Clash, who is the same person that did Elmo back in the day.
Of course.
Of course, right.
Of course it would be. Well, why would it be anyone but Elmo? What about the guy that did Big Bird? Did he do Splinter? Like twin brother? Like what? What?
Veiled by a shadow too deep to penetrate. Elmo, love you. Anyway, yeah. God, you know it's late because my voice is really going now. Anyway, Ninja Turtles, it's its 30th anniversary. Go check out those reunions if you get a chance. Also, I want to shout out, I don't know if you've seen any of this. What was this show called? So when COVID started, I guess...
Dude, I just love the biggest yawn.
Did you... So when COVID started, I guess Josh Gad, who played Olaf in the Frozen movies,
Love Josh Gad, by the way,
got bored, I think, and decided on his YouTube channel that he was going to reunite a bunch of movie casts that are like 30 and 25 and 20 anniversaries or something.
Of course he would. Why would Josh Gad not think of that?
And I'm surprised that you don't know about this. Is on Josh Gad's channel, he did a series called Reunited Apart, because obviously you couldn't have a reunion with everybody in the same room. He reunited a bunch of casts in Zoom. Believe it or not.
Thank God for Zoom.
And when you get a chance, and again, this is why we love retro, and this is why we do this Throwmeback segment, is for the nostalgia and to kind of see everybody from back then the way they are now. The cast that he reunited, here's the list: Ferris Bueller, Ghostbusters,
Stop this nonsense.
Back to the Future,
Shut the front door.
Lord of the Rings,
What the Spoon.
The Goonies,
That's impressive.
and Splash. The Splash is probably the least one that I was excited about, but all of that.
Whoa, the Goonies? That's not easy to do.
That's not easy to do. No, you're right.
Cast.
But he got the entire cast
some of them
all
are-
of those. Yeah.
They're huge nowadays now.
Yeah. And each episode is about half an hour long. So you got a nice half-hour chunk of nostalgia for all that. Wow. So go check that out if you haven't already. And that we're going to conclude. Yeah, we're going to conclude this segment. So if you guys are just catching up, we talked about Cobra Kai, the 30th anniversary of Fresh Prince, 30th anniversary of TMNT, and also go check out Reunited Apart, which is Josh Gad's YouTube channel. And with that,
if you can do Breakfast Club, I'd be really impressed.
Yes.
That'd be really impressive.
Maybe next. I think because that was season 1, and we're still in COVID, so we'll see what happens going forward if he's going to do a season 2 with this. Yeah. And on that note, we're going to go into our last segment for the episode, which is entitled
HadouKICKS.
It's time for some HadouKICKS. And in this episode, HadouKICKS is our sneaker review segment. And on this one, we're actually going to do our first impressions and reactions of a highly anticipated sneaker, I think, for next year, which Jeff Green and Jason Tatum have already shown off. And they've already put out on Instagram Zion Williamson's colorway. It is the Air Jordan 35, and that is the on-foot look from Jeff Green, who had them on the other night for the Jeff Green's on the Rockets now, right? I believe.
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
he is indeed.
So obviously the Air Jordan line from the 31 and on has taken cues from the older shoes. So obviously the 31 has taken cues from the 1, the 32 has taken cues from the 2, 3, 4, so forth. And it looks like they're continuing that with the Air Jordan 35 to a point. I mean, looking at them right now in that gray and whatever colorway,
space
colorway,
Nerf?
whatever.
First Nerf.
The Nerf, yeah, I'd say that reminds me of Nerf. So that I'll call that the Nerf colorway for now. The kids probably have another name for it right now, but I don't really care. But yes, you can
watch it be Nerf.
Watch it be Nerf, yeah. So the cues that you're seeing that come from the original Air Jordan 5 are the big tongue.
Yep.
The side panel view that's right underneath the tongue is straight from the 5 with the curve that goes all the way back to the Achilles, and then obviously the 23 on there, which is the first time you saw the 23 on an Air Jordan shoe. Was on
modern
the 5.
take on the font.
Modern take on the font. Looks like.
You think it's stitched?
Is it stitched? I can't really tell. Looks like it's.
Because that would really be a good throwback, because back then it was stitched. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, but yeah, and then the similarities end there, because then it looks like
right there
they use the bottom of the 34, and it's been modified a little bit. So what's your take?
I mean, listen, I said it to you right before we started filming this segment that I wish that these were the 34s and this year's 34s would be the 35s, because I feel like these are a step back. I can, the things that call out the 5s are great, because you can tell it's a huge call out, but it doesn't have the most important part. Where's my teeth? It doesn't have that, and it looks, I don't know, it looks like it was a watered down version of last year's model.
Really?
You think last year's model?
I think it's a bulked up version of last year's model, because last year's model was very minimalist. The 34s, although it took subtle cues from the 4, is a very minimalist shoe as far as the mesh on the outside and the tooling. It's a very lightweight shoe. These look a lot heavier because this model that we're looking at looks heavier because the material, even though it looks like it's premium material, with the suede, and then the uppers and just that big plate that's there, that is going underneath the arch of the foot. I think it looks like a heavier shoe.
It bothers me that the plate looks smaller. I can't confirm if it is or isn't, because I haven't seen them in person, but the plate looks smaller. So to me, it's like, wait, why are you showing off less of the cool tech?
Right. And
that bothers me, and it could just be me. But why is it that there's no design on the soles at all? It's literally just foam.
Right.
There's no pattern or nothing. It's just like straight foam.
Yeah. So the original Air Jordan 5 was based off of a fighter jet type deal, which is why you had the flames, the flaming teeth, I would say, at the bottom of the 5, and you don't see any of that design cue here
whatsoever.
Yeah.
There is a cool design that they have in there, but I don't think they did it on purpose.
Yeah, it's an interesting looking shoe, and I think I'd have to see it in a different colorway. And who knows, they might be able to retool the bottom, I guess. I'm assuming that gray ridge that's above the plate is an homage to the netting.
I think I see the netting in there. That is, I think.
You think? Yeah, but it's not clear, right?
Yeah, I think it might be.
That gray arch though reminds me of the 13 and one of the Jordan brand. I think it's the Air. I don't know, it's the Jordan Swift, the one that Eddie Jones wore. That version of the shoe looks like that.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I got you.
But
Um,
yeah, go ahead.
Listen, there's a really like I think there's a very unique design on here,
Yeah.
and I don't think it was done intentionally, whatsoever.
What is it?
I think someone very creative at Puma incepted someone that designed the sneakers mind in Nike. I'm sorry, Jordan brand, because you can see a giant Puma logo right on the front of the sneaker. Where your I guess your pinky toes would be.
Right.
Am I
That
the
so that
only one?
arch. Yeah, the man. Depending on how you block out the color, if this shoe were all white and this part were all black, you would mistake that for a Puma logo. I think you're
So
absolutely
now
right.
Nike literally just needs to make the whole upper the same color because they can't accent that ever again. You can't get away with that. Everyone's gonna think Clyde, not Jordan.
On that note, there is an actual teardown of the shoe that we're going to
That is
take
cool.
a look at from IMBB_shoes on Instagram. And shout out to him for having this up there and for us to talk
He's
about.
gonna get tons of followers after today.
Yeah, he has a picture of the shoe cut in half, and we are actually able to see the spring plate
Hold up.
that's in the middle, as well as the cushion setup on the back.
The
and in
huge cushion
forefoot.
setup?
It's a huge cushion setup in there, which makes me think that this is going to be a lot of a heavier shoe than the 34.
Do you
But
think it's gonna be less springy because of the extra weight, but then because it needs more air in it?
maybe, I mean, but also, like, what do you think? Like, when you see this shoe like this, doesn't this tooling, at least for the bottom of the shoe, look the same as the 34
It
or similar?
It looks like it's thicker air units. I feel like it's gonna ride. It's gonna have a good bounce. I feel like even though it's bottom loaded, the air units are the zoom units are so thick that you're probably gonna feel every single step. At least at least first breaking it in.
So-
the front, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it. I'm getting a pair of 34s soon, and
Ooh, lucky you.
I'm curious to see how the 35s are gonna feel, if they're gonna feel the same way. I mean, I didn't have too much of interest in it with this colorway, but I'm pretty sure if they come out with a classic colorway, maybe fire red, if they pay homage to those colorways with those, I think the shoe might look pretty good. Particularly the fire red in the the black cements. I think that would be an awesome colorway with that. They could do. I think they could do a lot, because looking at the way they blocked out the colors here leads me to believe that they can get pretty creative with the colorways of the sneaker, as well as
Can't wait
pay
for the
homage.
P's.
That
Can't
big
wait for
tongue
the
is still
P's.
there. Yeah.
I wonder what kind of foam what kind of foam they're using. You think it could be React? Nah, they wouldn't do React, right?
No, I don't think they would do React in there.
That'd be really cool though. I think it would boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. So what's your final take on it so far as a first reaction?
I mean, I wish the upper would look different. I love that there's a lot of air, in the shoe, but between the plate, looking smaller, and the upper, not doing enough for me to pay homage to the 5, and also the fact that apparently Walt Clyde Frazier got a brand new sneaker too. 6 out of 10.
I want to wait for a new colorway, and I think these are interesting, and I think that
True.
depending on what kind of colorway they come out, these could be fire.
Can we do true blue? Can we bring back a true blue color? I know it's not
Or the
the
Laneys.
5 thing.
Maybe the
Ooh,
Laneys.
that'd be
Yeah.
dope.
Anyway, that's it for that. And that's it for this episode of the Hyper Nerds Revenge. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you like the content, don't forget to let us know in the comments down below. Hit the notifications for any new episodes that are going to be coming up. And we will see you next time on the Hyper Nerds Revenge.